Grace and peace be with you, and the Christ who is coming we await. Hello, it's Doug Sparks again, and it's a privilege to be able to share with you what I admire most or love most about being an Episcopalian, and also a bit of a Christmas message. I want to first of all address the fact that after a period of time of discernment, I chose as an adult when I was 32 years of age to become a member of the Episcopal Church. I'd spent some time, as you know, as an ordained priest in the Roman Catholic Church, and over a period of discernment, I came to make a decision about becoming a member of the Episcopal Church. There's some background to that. I went to seminary in Chicago in the early 80s, and my liturgics professor did a comparative study course on various worship traditions, and it was during that class that I was first introduced to the Book of Common Prayer 1979. I opened that book and I was looking at it and I could not believe what I was reading. I had been formed and fashioned in one tradition, and I was amazed at how similar the tradition in terms of Eucharistic prayers and worship style and manner and all of that was such an amazing experience. And then I was also given the opportunity to kind of learn what the distinction between Rite 2 and Rite 1 were, etc. But the most important thing that I was introduced to was the baptismal covenant. I had never been introduced to that at all. That had never been part of my own experience. In the Roman Church, that's not at all included in the baptismal rite. And so Frank Griswold, Bishop Frank Griswold, was someone who said that in the Church's decision to sort of introduce the Church to the Book of Common Prayer 1979, they were clear that they thought making the Eucharist the principal service every Sunday in faith communities would be the most astounding change. But they never realized that, in fact, the baptismal covenant has had more influence on our church's understanding and vision about its mission and engagement in the world than anything else at all. Week after week, we have the opportunity, as you know, to pray, and then seasonally we celebrate and receive people through baptism. And it is a joy to be standing in our worship space and to say those words after the three phrases, do you believe in Jesus Christ? Do you believe in God the Father? Do you believe in the Holy Spirit? To say, will you seek and serve Christ in all persons, loving your neighbor as yourself? Will you strive for justice and peace among all people, respecting the dignity of every human being? I will with God's help. We will. We do with God's help. So prayer book was such an important part of the things I love. The other thing you probably know about me is that I love to sing. I made reference to several hymns in my material that I sent and that was shared with you in the Walkabout booklet. Whether that be Hymnal 1982, Wonder, Love, and Praise, Voices Found, and the array of other material. I was a chorister early in my life, and those experiences of music formed and fashioned me. And I'm sure that they formed and fashioned you as well. So prayer book, hymnal, music, liturgy, those are all things that are all exciting, that I love most about the Episcopal Church. But I think it's also important to say, I came into the Episcopal Church during the ministry of presiding Bishop Edmund Browning. And I remember reading his address to the church, and one of the phrases that stood out there for me was, in this church, there will be no outcast. And I thought to myself, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of a group of people who say, regardless of your gender, regardless of your age, regardless of whether you're ordained or a layperson, all persons are welcomed in the Episcopal Church. And that was a compelling experience for me. I've had the privilege to serve in the Diocese of Milwaukee and in the Diocese of Minnesota as deputy from those dioceses to 4 general conventions. And it's exciting to be able to say to my friends in other denominations, you know what? I serve and live in a church that takes seriously the leadership of all persons, whether they're lay persons or ordained persons. Everyone has a voice, and the way we make decisions really has an influence on the way we move forward together, engaging God's mission in the world. So I look forward to being able to share some more things with you about that. But our polity and our worship and music and structure are really some of the most important things I think we have to share with others who want to know more about the Episcopal Church. It's been my practice over the last number of years to send out an Advent letter, and in that letter to encourage the members of our faith community to consider singing or praying a hymn, whether that be a hymn that's rather ancient from the hymnal or more contemporary, whether it be a hymn like Lo, How a Rose Ere Blooming, or a hymn like Welcome to Our World by Chris Rice. This year, however, I sent out a letter and I included this non-liturgical hymn, but nonetheless, I think, a compelling text for us to consider. You might know it. It goes like this. Said the night wind to the little lamb, do you see what I see? You can sing it on yourself, but it's important to note that carol was written in the shadows of the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. And it was written and performed and really moved people during that terrifying and fearful time when our nation and many other nations on the world were on the brink of nuclear disaster. And we find ourselves perhaps at a time of being worried as well about terrorism, about people who might be different than us and fearful about who they might be. And so I sent this out and encouraged the members of our faith community to pray it or sing it daily. Let me conclude by reading the last stanza. Said the King to the people everywhere, listen to what I say. Pray for peace, people everywhere. The child, sleeping in the night. He will bring us goodness and light. That's my hope and prayer for all of you, that this Christmas may be a time of goodness and light, and may Jesus, the Prince of Peace, guide and enlighten you. We look forward to seeing you in January.